Hello and welcome to this episode of Animasaurus. I'm your animation dinosaur, Kim, and today we are going to be looking at Lupin III First Part. So Lupin III is a feature film that's going to be coming out in Japan on December the 6th. So in this video, we're going to have a quick look at history of it, a few points of production, but oh my god, the shots. So let's get right into it. Quick look at the history of Lupin III and where he comes from. This is following along in the footsteps of, if you've been watching Tintin or the Asterix books, they've come from comic books to start off with. So the stories and the characters get fleshed out in the comic books before they get brought into the cinema sphere. Lupin III first appeared in comics in 1967 for his first appearance. He was then developed more and turned into a manga comic through 1971. He came out for his own his own lead role in a comic in 1971. But then since then, 50 years ago, he's also been in anime films and games. So the franchise has been brought up and even gone into a stage show around the character as well. But this is the first time it's ever been turned into a 3D CG film. So, 50 years to get to this point, and it's very exciting. For the production of this, there's not a whole lot available because it is being produced in Japan. So, it's officially announced in July 2019 that it was going to go into production, and the release date was for Japan on the 6th of December. Currently, there are no other international release dates, so depending on how well it is received, like Asterix as well, Asterix didn't get released outside of Europe for a long time, and it didn't get redubbed in English for ages until the rest of the world got to see it. So it'll be something similar like that to see how the world reacts to it. Depends on whether it will then be dubbed in English and then released for the rest of the world to see. But what really got me about this trailer was some of the shots and the sequences that are put together with the camera work. So let's take a look at that. So here we go. Right from the start, when it opens up, the first thing we get to see is an awesome car chase. Boom, boom, action, action, action. Which is really, really cool. It's like very different to see an animated feature an animated trailer just go boom. Which is not something you see too often, but it's really nice to see. But there's a few things to kind of keep in mind, which I just wanted to pick out. This is getting picky because overall the production of this is absolutely fabulous, but there's just a few things where I'm just like, I get a little lost with the cinematography. So, start off with, we get this wheel shot, tire shot, which is nice, it's different, but your focal point is here, on the wheel. So we go from our focal point on the wheel, darting back and forwards to, dead center on the bus. Fair enough, which is cool. You go for a cut straight on the bus. Is the bus the thing you want to be looking at though? In this shot, the camera has already started to lead your eye towards something else. And with the leading of your eye, there it is across here. You then get to see that as the camera moved over, you then see the car come darting out from behind this one. So we've gone for a reveal of the car a second time, because the first time we got the camera from fade to black, and then the car's in. And now another time here, we've gone from dead focus center on the bus, which we had, to then moving the camera over here and bringing the car in again. 2 times. All right, let's have a look at the next shot we cut into then. Or actually, just leave this here. So this is where our eye was drawn to in this previous shot, or in this shot. So we go from there to, what's going on? I'm looking here going, okay, well my eye's just been drawn up here and now I'm getting, my eyes are now getting dragged to, something dead center again. That's somewhat a bit of an odd cut. So, all right, but let's take it from that. Okay. We've gone from a cut, so we've gone from here to the center, and this is really, it's an interesting shot to go, you know what? There we go, it's another reveal. So this is now the third time we've actually got the car going from one side, our main car, out to this side of the center of the line. What's really cool with this camera shot though is not only has he then just darted across here and led the camera, so we've now got the camera is now getting dragged this way because the action of the car is leading us that way, which is nice. You know, we've got movement from the car, camera is moving. Oh, we've got to only halfway through the shot here, and what's really neat is the car has changed direction now, and the car's heading back. But this is what's really clever about this shot, because in CG you don't have anything like momentum to kind of predict what's going on, or inertia. So the things from physical world that get carried through, in CG, what makes it look like a CG film is when you lose your reality, your elements of, you know, stuff that happens around you. But in this one, what's really nice is even though the car is now changing directions, the camera keeps moving in that direction like it would in a real world. The camera having weight, having inertia, and someone sitting behind it has gone, zhunk, oh, I'm going to follow the action, but the action's changed direction. But instead of just whipping the camera back to keep the car dead center, they've left the car actually do its thing, sliding back and forwards across the shot. And as you can see in this shot where it ends up, it's back on the third on this side again. So it's gone from this third to back again, while our camera has just had one nice smooth motion, continuing where it started off trying to follow the car. So I really like that. I think that shot is really, really nice. And to keep things nice and simple then, they've also kept the center line right down the middle here for our next shot. We then go, boom, dead center. All right. But what I do find jarring out of this though is if we have a look at, I'm just going to draw a circle, this space here, from shot to shot. We then go from that to that, which is, if you look at this, empty space on one side, empty space on the other side. In the next shot, both of those spaces are now filled with cars. Where did they come from? Oh. Yeah, that was just one thing I had a little bit of a, you know, for an edit point, it's like, oh, they're cutting action together, so it didn't feel too jarring, especially since, you know, in a sequence, if it was sequential in a movie, I would be getting really quite narky about stuff like that. But in a trailer, you're trying to cut the most epic shots together, so, you know, I can forgive them for this. But again, with the car was lined up really nice between the cut, and he's diving forward. So we've got everyone moving. We've got the two cars moving forward. We've got the camera moving forward. And we've got the main center of interest ducking and weaving to get through, which is really nice. And then we end on a big smear, stuff just going everywhere. Just end on a big smear as the car leaves the frame. And as you can see in this final frame, he is still there. There's still a yellow smear, which I think is really nice. You've still got smears as he's getting off. And the next cut point is nice clean shot, and someone just going to defend it, jumping in front of him, and he's on the brakes again. Now I've got to say, it looks amazing, like the render engine they're using, whatever render engine they've got going on here, it's been able to do the physical plausible lighting and the paint work and the atmospherics. It's handling everything really well. Just if you go back 10 years and look at some of the what was achieved by render engines compared to where we're at now, man, this is beautiful. So anyway, yeah, so you come into shot, jam on the brakes, one car's just dove in front of him, and look at the next shot, we go, oh, look what's behind it. We've got a bus back here now. Whoops, I'm my wrong colour. We've got one car this side, one car this side. Our yellow car's dead set in the middle again, between two cars. So it's like there's been so much time change between these. As an action sequence, yeah, you know, yes, stuff's going on. and I guess you don't really want to follow it, but it would have been cool to follow it through. But this last thing here, which I really love, is the two guys on the outside go to hit him, but look how quickly he gets up and goes and ends up in a smear as well as he's coming straight towards the camera. I think that's beautiful, really using motion blur to show speed and actually, include the audience in it, like, oh my god, we're about to get cleaned up by a car. The next one I just want to have a look at is the cut between these two. The camera moves between these two shots here as the guns battle kind of gets drawn. It's really interesting, the technique that they've gone to use on this, because it's something that in real life would be a lot harder, but to get the timing and everything to work properly. But in CG you can sit here and doodle away on this stuff until it does look really good. But to start off with, the first thing they've got is a frame. We'll keep his eyes. We're looking at Lupin's eyes right there. He's got a good strong pose. He's got motion blur on his fingers. So there's movement already in here. If you look at the lines of his arm, the body, we've already got motion in the shot from the first frame, which is great. Interesting thing about this one though is the camera is actually leading the motion. So the character himself is not doing a whole lot. Oh, Jesus, now with that microphone you'll probably pick that up. So the character's not doing a lot to get the motion going. The first thing that's really moving is the lens of the camera. So the lens of the camera is drawing out. And you can look at that by the way the background is now starting to go flat. So it was warpy. If you look at these lines back here, let's just use a different color. If you look especially at the doorway, you look at where the doorway is, it's very wide, very warpy. And as the shot starts, you can see that the background itself, boom, boom, flattens out and the doorway gets smaller and smaller. So the camera would be moving back as well to keep the character in exactly the same spot as the lens is moving, because we're really trying to keep the character looking pretty and as big as possible in that shot. But the character hasn't moved. It's all camera work at this point. And when he does move, it's really quick. You can see how blurry he gets. Get rid of this. You can see that he turns into a big blur, as well as the background blur. So the camera now is not has the lens is slowed down. It's moving, slowed down the lens pull, and now it's just rotating around because the door's going off as the character is now pulling through. But we're keeping him very much on that third. So if we look at all the way through, he starts off on that third, he ends up on that third with the gun going across the half this way. The interesting move as well, I find it a very interesting move. So he's breaking his elbow as he comes through, so his elbow leads him up, which is a very traditional sort of animation thing to do. If you want to lead with something, you get a bit more overlaps, overflowing action if you come up with the elbow and you break it through, shot frame by frame. But as the blur stops, the camera comes to a full stop as well. So the camera has led the character into this position because the camera has beaten it there, which is unusual to kind of see that now, see that used. But the camera arrives to its position before the character does. As we cut straight into the next one, this one again, we've come from a lot of motion, so being stuck in motion is not a bad thing. But in this shot, which I found really, really cool, we've got the character is turning one direction, but the camera is rotating around him another direction. So we're actually amplifying the speed of which it feels that everything is moving because things are going in opposite directions. The background is blurry, the foreground's blurry, but as we move around him, he moves very quickly into position. Again, the camera sort of leads him into position, and they both end. Their action end at the same time. So, very odd sort of feeling to have your camera and your character come to, it's calculated, that's the only thing, that's the word I'm looking for. It's very calculated to say camera moves here to get the best framing for a hold pose, the character ends up on the same frame. Because that then allows them just to sit here, a little bit of motion in the arm, a little bit of motion in the hand to kind of settle. But the key pose is bang at the same time as the. I really dig this cut as well, because this camera move, the second camera move in this is really nice. The first position we've got here is just looking at them, at our main characters crawl up out of a hole, which is cool, which is nice. You know, they're in the top of the frame, they're filling it up, and they're moving in, you know, what's a right to left, you know, a right to left direction. Whoops. Well, there we go. There, so they're moving in a right to left direction across the screen, which is really, you know, fair enough. They're moving in that way. And then we go back to the next cut. They've still both got their heads, which is, both of their heads are both still up really, really high. But now we're moving, the camera is all of a sudden moving forward and coming over their shoulder as well. So the camera move is really nice. I really like this shot. Because it's a nice reveal shot to say, well, whoever they're after, we're looking over the edge. We're actually getting to look over the edge with the characters as well, as they come up and they reveal whatever they're looking at down here. But I really like that camera move. It's moving along with them, plus it's going up and over. I think this is a lovely reveal shot, because what you're looking for is then like dead center in the frame. So help leading your eye with the light they've got down here as well. There's nowhere else is there lights, but there's one bright yellow light down here, so it's really drawing the attention of the viewer down there. But it's really getting the viewer into the shot as well, to go, you know what, we're coming up over and we're looking just like the characters are, which I think's really well done. I like that. I like it a lot. All right, what else have we got to look at? Similarly, again, I really like this shot as well, as it's gone into using a frame within a frame. So it's using the walls of these caves here to build a frame with inside our picture. So, you know, we've got the dark bits in here with a really bright light background, you know, where the sun is shining out in the background. So we've given our characters here some really a bright background to be in, and yet they're all in darkness. But not only that, what's really cool is they've also given them torches. So the torches are also helping throw a lot of white light down the front here, and it's actually blowing out this bottom. So it's giving depth in the shot. So not only have we got the bright background, we've also got a really bright foreground, which is, you know, showing off some of these rocks, which are really, really dark. But it's kept our characters really dark, so you can't see their faces because it's all in darkness. But they've given them really strong silhouettes to come in from outside the light, inside the frame, having a frame inside a frame, and we can see that the characters are nice. No, that's crap. You can see that we can see our characters' silhouettes really strongly against the background. Another thing, another two shots which I really dig the way they've framed this up is this one here and the next one. So we've got a frame cut in two halves, this time by the plane. And we can just see the toe of our hero here, but the frame has been cut in half by using existing, I guess you'd call it, you know, structure. You go, okay, cool, we've cut the frame in half by seeing half the structure. We know where our main character is because he's still just in shot. And we can see our other character in the background here running small, full shot behind the wheel. But it's still balanced in the shot. So we've got half over here and half over here. And as we run through a scene, from the space that I had before, which was lined up, look perfectly, comes into our main character here. Nice open space for him to go in. Perfect dead center, just on that side. Look at that, and our other character here. So I love halves. Halves are used really, really nicely throughout this. And off he goes. And the last one I'm going to talk about is this real little short one here, which I thought was throws back definitely to a comic book feel, and I've seen this done a few other times. But we've started off, want to emphasize something really, really nicely. Take out the background. It just looks beautiful. We've got a big curve, leading line for what's going through there. It's like, he's hit his target. Whatever he was after, it looks like us, but the swing has come through. We've been involved in it. Beautiful. So now, after looking through all of that, I geeked out quite a lot at this trailer. I really enjoyed watching it. It was really, it's a very exciting film. I'm really looking forward to seeing it come out. Hopefully we can get a hold of it outside of Japan when it comes through. But for me, from the trailer, watching the trailer and just geeking out on the trailer, I give it 3 heads. So let me know in the comments if you guys are going to hunt up Lupin and watch it when it comes out on the 6th of December. Thank you for going through this with me. And as always, you can now watch more Animasaurus videos right now.